Hi everyone, Emma here. I am getting ready to make some bracelets, so come on and join me. So what I thought I'd do is a bracelet that involves a chain and then a strand of crystals. So, and maybe a charm or two. So that's why I picked these. So this is the chain I'm using. I get this, let me adjust the camera here. So I get this from AliExpress, and I think it's like 5 meters for like $2. Let me double check this. I think I might still have a bag with the price on it. No, I've got a whole bin of different chains that I got from AliExpress. So, but I thought I'd use that one. It is like the really bright yellow that's kind of orangey that some people don't like, but I kind of like it. It's, I'm not fooling anybody. It's costume jewelry, so I don't really care. I like the shininess and how affordable it is. So I can make lots of bracelets. So what you're going to need is a clasp. I have a toggle clasp. You're going to need some crystals, and these are 6mm Swarovski crystals. You can use any crystals you have. You can use pearls. You can use whatever you want. You're going to need, I have some crimp covers. Let me enlarge this here. There. And it just focus. There we go. So I have some crimp covers, and that's just to cover the crimp tubes. You don't have to. The crimp tubes, these are ones that I got from Beading. They're really pretty, which reminds me we should get our tool out for that. So you'll need your special crimping tool, and I got this at Beading as well. Super cheap. So if you're looking for something like this, you can get this at Beading. I did actually find one of these crimping tools at my local fabric store, and they have like a tiny section on beading, and they had a tool, not this one, but one similar to this, and it was like $5. And I bought it for my sister because I sent her a bunch of stuff so she could do beading night with her daughters. And I thought, for $5, I'll get that tool. So I actually opened it up and tested it, and it works amazing. So you should take a look at your local stores. Do be careful. I'll tell you the hint to a good tool. When you bring them together, you see how it's got these little kind of taco looking things? You want to make sure that your tool closes. Now this one actually doesn't close all the way at this point, but that part's not a big deal. You want to make sure that this point here, so this one has for a big one and for micro as well. You're going to probably use this one the most. You want to make sure that that point is actually prominent like it is here. I had a tool that I got on eBay that never worked, and I didn't realize why until I got this one and I put them side by side. That little point was, you could barely see it, so it actually wasn't pushing the tube so that you could fold it over. So that's the key to a good tool. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's make some. So I'm using some wire guards, and I am going to use some beading wire, and I use this 7-strand Beading. They call it bright. It looks silver to me. And because I want everything to match gold, that is one of the reasons why I'm using a gold wire guard, so that you won't be able to see too much of the silver. And then once you put one of these, you should be fine. But you can go ahead and use gold colored beading wire, which I got, but I got the wrong kind, so it's super thin. I haven't decided what to do with it yet. So I've just cut a big length probably about, this is actually longer than what I need. It is about 14 inches long. You don't even need that long, but I just go ahead and cut them long. Makes it easier to work with. So this red one, and I have stuff to make a pink one. See over here with the pink heart. The pink one I'm going to do for 7 inches, and the red one I'm going to do for 7.5 inches. And I'll tell you, I measured this on the mandrel, and then I went ahead and measured it with my ruler. So on the mandrel, this one is for 7.5 inch, and what I did was I brought it all the way around like this together with this piece here that I opened up to take the piece off. This is 7.5. When you measure it here, it measures just slightly over 8 inches. So if you don't have a mandrel, here's a hint. You can just add 1/2 inch to your bracelet size, as long as your beads are not like super chunky. The bigger your beads get, the longer this has to be, because when you start to turn it like that and you have a big bead that comes around here, this area here gets shorter. So that's why I use a mandrel. But if you don't have a mandrel for something basic like this, just add 1/2 inch. But also remember, you need your 1/2 inch for your clasp. By the time you add stuff to this clasp, this is about 1/2 inch. So you may not have to add your 1/2 inch, if you understand what I'm saying. So measure your wrist size 7.5. Your clasp is going to be 1/2 inch, and you need to add 1/2 inch to get it to go around your wrist. Then you don't have to add anything. So 7.5 would be your measurement. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully it works out for you. Other than that, you can buy one of those mandrels. When I bought mine, I think I paid $20 with free shipping on Amazon. Like everything else, the prices have gone up. So let's go ahead and get started. Super fun. The other thing I'm going to do is, for the crystals, instead of putting spacer beads, I'm going to use these 15-0. This is silver lined medium topaz round. I'm going to use these as spacers with the beads and with both colors. And I kind of matched it up to the gold. That's how I came to that color. And these here I got on AliExpress. And all you have to do is put in the search bar crystal heart pendants, and you'll get something like this. And I think this seller had maybe 6 different colors, and when I looked at it, the red and the pink were the only ones that looked like they were real crystals. And I know they're not real crystals. You can see they're pretty crappy, but at a distance they look awesome, and once we put them on here, they're going to look amazing. And you're going to need some jump rings as well. So let's get started. So I think what I'll do is I'll leave this part out so that I will use that to judge my length for my crystals. So let's get some crystals out here. So let's move these guys. Some crystals. Ooh, these are pretty. I can't remember the color of these. I am going to put a bead stopper on this, if I can find one. I have tons of them, but I think I attach them to projects and then they go in a bin and they get hidden somewhere on my desk. Okay, so let's get some of these guys out. And I got these from Beading. Amazing prices. I think that's where I got these ones from. Yeah, that's the markings from Beading. So I think I might start with a seed bead, and then a crystal, and a seed bead, Crystal. Seed bead. So you can see these 15s fit really well on this. That looks pretty. Look at that. Let me see if I can focus this a little better. There you go. That looks pretty. So yeah, that'll be really nice. Okay, so pop that down. I need a seed bead. Crystal. So is it yesterday? The day before yesterday, I was working on doing like a marathon of videos to try and get my mood up and my motivation and stuff. And sadly, I had a really sick kitty, and we had a really rough night. Today's Sunday. It was like Friday night into Saturday. We were up all night with him. He had like kidney stones, and I guess they break off and they get caught in the urethra, and then they can't pee, and their bladder expands so much, and that everything backs up. So that's what was happening with him, and he was in a lot of pain. It was pretty traumatic. The sounds he was making sounded like a wild animal. So finally, Saturday morning, my wife woke me up. Well, I actually had to take a sleeping pill to go to sleep because the sound was so bad. She stayed up with him, and then she woke me up in the morning. She said, "Why don't you go ahead and have a coffee, and then we'll take him to the vets." I said, "Oh no, let's skip the coffee. Let's go right to the vets." So that's what we did, and they were amazing. But sadly, we lost him. He passed away. It's hard to talk about, and I kind of don't want to do it in a video. This is turning out really nice. Oh my gosh. I've had lots of animals before, and I'm kind of surprised at, well, I guess I'm not surprised at my reaction to his passing, but I don't know, I feel overwhelmed with grief. I'm just beside myself. And both my wife and I are just don't know what to do with ourselves. We're, being healthy and trying to talk about it and to remind ourselves that, we were really good cat mommies, and that we always joke, both him and his brother won the cat lottery, because, we're home all the time. We're both retired, so we're home all the time. And, we know that they have their sleep time, but then they have their play time, and we get the toys out and play with them and talk to them and pet them and snuggle them and stuff like that. So, yeah, he was a really special cat. He had severe anxiety, and I think from the information we got, because we got them from a rescue, and he was living on the street, so of course that would make sense that he has severe anxiety. And he was also a what did I call him? I can't think of the word, but we had to be careful with everything because he would eat it. So, which makes sense. If he fended for himself on the street, he would eat anything for food. So we would have to turn our Kleenex boxes upside down so he wouldn't get the Kleenex. No strings on anything. He would eat string so fast, you turn your head and he ate string. It's like, what the hell? Like the string off of your knapsack or something like that. So I'm continuing to measure this against the chain. So this is looking amazing. So we're almost there. One time he puked, and I'm being a nurse, I always check to make sure, and knowing that he eats everything, I wanted to make sure to see what it was he'd eaten or if he'd passed a hairball or something. And I find a plastic clasp, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I start looking and I realize there was like a ribbon attached to this plastic clasp. He had eaten a whole lanyard. And my wife used to, because she was recently retired, she used to have lanyards from going to conferences and stuff like that. And she would collect them and she'd have them in her office hanging off of one of her drawers with all her stuff in it. So I guess he got a hold of it and ate the whole thing. It was a good thing it didn't kill him. But that was early on before we realized how bad. I called him a scrounger. That's what the word I was looking for, a scrounger. So yeah, it was funny. So he realized very quickly that he wasn't allowed to eat stuff like that. So when he wanted our attention and he couldn't get our attention, like he'd sit in front of you and just look at you, that was how I'd say to him, you have to talk, I can't understand you. So he'd go and he'd jump on an area that he wasn't allowed to jump on. So like we have a little table next to the door where we keep our keys and different things like that. A jar of candy and stuff. He'd jump on there and he'd start chewing on something on there, knowing it would get our attention. It was so funny. And we joke that we taught him how to talk because I heard that I always wondered how come some cats talk and some don't. And when I say talk, meow in your face to tell you something. So I'm just measuring this again. So I still have maybe about 5 more to go. So he would, the first time I heard him meow, I was in my office and I could hear him outside of the door. And I went to look because I was like, what is that? Because it sounded like a kitten, like a little meow, meow, like this. And here's this like big 10-pound cat at the door sounding like a kitten. So of course, anytime he would meow, I'd respond. So he started talking more and more, and he had different meows for different things. It was pretty amazing. I'd seen a documentary, and it said that cats do not meow or do not talk. We teach them to talk. So by reinforcing and giving them attention when they meow, reinforces it, so then they learn, oh, okay, if I do this, I'm going to get this. So still have a few more to go on this. This is going to look pretty. Make sure, yeah, okay. So yeah, he had the perfect name, Buddy. My wife thinks that he's been trying to tell us that he was sick for a couple of days. He never comes and lays down in my bed. And the last week he kept coming in to my bed and knocking my tablet over and stuff like that. But So they were pretty amazing at the vet clinic, and I'll show you in a second what they did. I thought was just incredible. Okay, so that is, let me bring this out so you can see. There's the measurement. I have another link here, so maybe I should add a bit more. Let me do this and put that like that. I think maybe one more. Yeah, just one more. Yeah, they were amazing at the vet clinic. We had never been to this vet clinic. It was a 24-hour emergency vet clinic. And so we called and they said, yeah, bring him over. So they ask you if you want the remains and stuff, and we were not interested. That kind of creeps me out a bit, but they gave us this envelope, so that was his name, Buddy. And let's see if I can get them out here. They printed his paws for us. So these are actually his paws. So my wife and I were joking. We didn't realize our cat had 5 paws. But I think what happened is this was so dark that you couldn't see. It's kind of like fingerprints, so you couldn't see all the little lines. So they probably redid it and just put it all in there. But I thought that was amazing, so we're going to go ahead and frame these. Our little guy. I'm trying to see if I can tell the difference between his front and his back. So I'm really super overwhelmed, but I don't know, maybe talking about it helps. I know my wife and I are struggling this weekend. So let's get this together. So for this one, we're going to need a wire guard, and there's a crimp tube here that I need. So let me enlarge this so we can see what I'm doing here. So we'll take the crimp tube and then the wire guard up through the bottom. Let's see if I can do this so you can see what I'm doing. Like that. We still have the crimp tube. Okay. Now we're going to bring it around and through the second hole like that. I'm going to take, you know what, I was just thinking, I was going to put it directly onto the jump or the clasp, but we have the jump rings. So let's put it on the jump rings, and then we can adjust the jump rings. Need be. I guess what we could do is put the clasp. I think I might do that just because there's a little more to hang on to. So let's do that. Open that up. And close this one. And I think what I'll do is on the other one I will add the heart. And I'm just wondering if I should add the heart to the jump ring here or actually to this. I don't think it would interfere with No, I think we should leave it and put it on the jump ring. So let's open this one. We can always change it if we think it needs to be changed. Put that there. And put that there. Yeah, let me turn it the other way. I don't know if it's going to matter which way it's turned. That looks amazing, just like that. What? Okay, this seems like it's open a bit, so let me adjust that. I can maybe, no, let me adjust it. And that's because we're putting a wire in there. I don't want it to come loose. So the best way to do that is to wiggle it back and forth, but squeeze together as you're doing it, and you'll find the right spot. Okay. So now we've got to take this and attach it to the wire guardian. So take your wire end, put it through like this, like that. Okay. And we won't draw this to the end because the other side has lots of wire too, so we don't really need it. I'm just going to grab the crimp tube and bring it up so that we can slide the end of the other wire through like that. Okay, bring that all the way down. And you can squeeze these together, the wire guard. I'm going to use the other hand. Sure it's there, like that. And bring your tube right up to the end here. And I'm just making sure my wires are not crossed. There, they're not crossed. Okay. Get I want to make sure that you can see what I'm doing here. So now I have my crimper tool. So you're going to crimp it on the third spot. So bring everything in there like that. And squeeze gently. You can see it's created this little indentation. I think I'm going to try and squeeze a little forward a bit. There. Okay. So now you're going to turn it 90 degrees and you're going to put it in the last slot, and that's going to fold it over like that. And you can go forward a bit there. Just like that. Very nice. So it's nice and neat. You can leave it like that, or you can cover it. We're going to cover it with a crimp tube. These really neat, they're called Stardust, like that. Okay, so I'm going to hang on to that. And I have another tool. Now you can just use your regular pliers for this, but I have this tool that I got from Kath from England, and this closes this up really nice. So let's see if we can do that. It's a bit awkward for me with my hands. So you put the crimp cover in the little slots, and then you just squeeze gently, bringing it closed like that. And let me see here. That did not go over the, I thought it was on top, but it slid off. Let me see if I can get that in there. Yeah, it must have moved. Let me see if I can get this off. Because otherwise we'd have to open the hole. Let's see if I can get this back on here. Let me use my bead reamer, see if I can open this up a bit. Sometimes it's better if you do this when you have your beads next to it so it doesn't move. Man, this one's really... I may have to cut this one off. Yeah. Let's see if we could clip this one off. That might open it enough to go on. Okay, well, we may have to cut our wire and start all over. Let me see if I can. Okay, let's get rid of that one. Try this again. So let me, first of all, we can clip this to start with. And I'll show you what I was talking about, what I should have done in the first place. Okay. Just draw all your beads down to the spot. So let me move my bead stopper so that it holds it in place. Like that. Okay. So now my beads are going to prevent that bead cap from moving forward, because when I squeezed it, it moved out of place. I thought I had it on there good, but so let's keep that. There, I see what I probably did it myself. There we go. They're supposed to be there. Perfect. That looks a lot better. Okay, so let's go to the other side. Let's move some of this stuff out of the way. It's a crimp tube. Okay, let's get this. Put the crimp tube on. Okay, bring it all the way down to there. Then where's our... Okay, we need our wire guard. So you put it through the bottom. And you're going to loop it around. And go up through the top on the other side like that. And pull it down. bring it through the crimp tube like that, and then you're going to draw everything down. Just pull everything down like, oh, we forgot to put our clasp on. I can hear you guys going, Emma, you forgot your clasp. What? Can you hear? Yeah. Okay, let's get this back on here. This is, I should have like a flashing words. This is not a tutorial. This is just Emma being silly. There. Much better. Okay, and just make sure that's wires nice and snug. I'm gonna squeeze these together a bit. The tools must be magnetic. They're kind of getting silly. Okay, so we've got everything there. We need our crimping tool. Put it in the third slot without squeezing your finger. Make sure everything's in there. Squeeze like that, and then turn it 90 degrees, put it in the last slot, and fold over. Perfect. Lovely. We can clip this. Get rid of that piece. So this is what we have so far. This looks really big actually for now let's add the chain. So we'll see. Every time I kept adding crystals, I'm like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, look, it's okay. That's so we put this one here onto this jump ring like this, and get our tools, our pliers. And bring it together like that. This is gonna look pretty like that. So let me see. It is, yeah, slightly too long. But you know what I think I might do is add a few links here to so it's missing maybe 2 links, and we also need a bead cap for this. And I see this is sticking out a bit here. I don't know if you can see that sticking out. I'm going to try and get rid of that. There, perfect. Okay, put that on there. So this may be in size 8. It looks awfully big. We'll adjust the next one to make sure it doesn't end up so big. So, by the way, I hit 6,000 subscribers over the weekend, and I want to do something special for it. So if you have any ideas, definitely comment and let me know, and don't think anything is not impossible. And And I'll tell you what, if I pick your idea, you will automatically get, be careful not to crush my crystals here, you will automatically get something from the 6K subscriber celebration. So maybe that'll encourage people to respond. Okay, so I need 2 links here. Let me open one of these here. That. So, you know, I went through that big ordeal about the amount of adding and subtracting of chain. Just disregard that. Because clearly this was didn't work the way it was supposed to work. There's no point putting that on because I'm going to have to open it anyway. So that one's there. So let's open this one. Okay, so add this here and add this here. And that will finish this one off. Okay, so let's see what we got. This is really nice. Wow. I'm always surprised when I do stuff. I'm like, wow, I made that. So let's put it together and see what it looks like. Oh, this is really super duper. But it is very big. So I think I'm going to measure it. I think I may have to restring this. But look, it's in the 8 zone. So that did not measure up correctly. I think what I did is I didn't follow my own instructions. I added the 1/2 inch plus a 1/2 inch for the clasp. That's what happened. So there's an 8-inch one for somebody special. Okay, so let's do this one. Let's do this one correctly. The first one's an example of what not to do. And okay, so I want this one to be 7 inches. So it's 7.5. So I need to take 2 off of here. I should have taken these 2 off and put it on the other one. Oh well. There. Put those aside. And let's move these crystals out of the way here. And get ready for the pink crystals. Because there's something special with the pink crystal. And I have tons of these. Should do something as a giveaway with some Swarovskis. Okay, so these are the pink crystals. We're going to need another one of these guys. Since I used the other one. There. And we have a piece of wire. So let's take some of these crystals off. Actually, you know what I might do is, since they're on there, I might just do something. No, you can't see this here. Is just take that amount off. It's definitely going to be less because I have the 15 O's that are going to go in between. Let's put those there. And put a bead stopper on here. Some of these things out of the way. Oh, we'll get started. So this one here is the pink heart and the ribbon. So this is, I guess, what they call a cause ribbon. This is actually gold plated. I have a bunch of these somewhere in my stash. So if you're interested, as part of the 6K giveaway, we could do something with this if people are interested. Seed bead, crystal. So my appointment with the breast surgeon is on Tuesday. I'm just looking at this. This almost doesn't look like enough gold. And I have some other gold. There's some gold beads, bigger ones. No, you know, I think I'll leave it. It's I think once I get a bunch on, it should look fine. So yeah, Tuesday is my appointment. I figured I would start to get stressed out a day or two before the appointment, and then poor buddy passed away, and we've just been preoccupied with that, and now I'm starting to get stressed. Part of it is for this situation, you're going to see somebody new, somebody you don't know, and I don't know, you know, there's a lot of different approaches to dealing with the problem that I have. So I don't know if this person's going to take it seriously or just say, you know, oh, what are you doing here? Kind of thing. Who are you? What do you want? I know that's not going to happen, but ugh, it's when you don't know the person, it's always nerve-wracking. Anyway, try and stay positive and just one day at a time, I guess. I think part of, like, you know, the idea of one day at a time has its place, but for something like this, and I've watched some videos and they all say the same thing, and even the doctors say it, you're faced with information, a lot of information all at once, and you're faced with having to make a decision about that information that you really don't know much about. And the decision is usually surgery, chemotherapy, radiation therapy, what type of surgery, whether you have a lobectomy, a mastectomy, a bilateral. So there's like all kinds of information that is really overwhelming. So here we go. This is actually, yeah, look, next to the gold, it looks really good. Perfect. And I didn't want it like too overwhelming anyway, so that looks good. That. There. So I'm doing my best to stay positive and work out. I kind of pigged out over the weekend, but starting tomorrow, I'm back on keto, which I kind of was like gonna do just a regular diet for a while because it was starting to affect my mood. But you know what? I after eating potato chips, cinnamon buns, heavy duty breakfasts like, bacon and eggs and home fries and stuff like that. Yeah, it's time to get back on my regular diet again. My poor wife, she's trying to lose weight, so I'm like, I could eat whatever I want, I don't care. She's like, yeah, but I can't. I need to lose weight. Okay, so we're almost there. Let's see what we got here. So we need maybe 5 more. There. When my sister and I were kids, we used to go to Brownies, and after Brownies, we used to stop on this one street. There was an abandoned house, and they used to have, because it was abandoned, there was stuff inside the house. I don't know why we thought it was okay to go into this house and take things out of it. We had no clue about, trespassing. I mean, I'm sure we did, but we just didn't think that that's what we were doing. So, and of course, my younger sister, Sylvia, was, what you would today call a hall monitor. She always followed the rules. And I was the one always saying, let's do this, let's do that. So, needless to say, I'm sure this was me saying, oh, let's go into that house. And what we used to, there was a ton of comic books. And we had a comic book store that you could go to and sell your comics to, and they'd give you like 5 cents or 10 cents for a comic book. So if we had, a stack of comic books, we could have a couple of dollars, right? So that's what we would do after Brownies. Well, this one time we went to that house, and I just need one more. So we went to that house, and there was a bunch of kittens that were abandoned, and there was no way we could leave them. And the funny part was, my older sister had bugged my mom for a cat forever, and my mom finally agreed and said, yeah, you can have a cat. So when we found these kittens, we were like, well, she has a cat, so we should be able to have a cat too. So we took them all the kittens. On the way home, we stopped at a variety store, Mr. Lafferty's. He was Irish and an alcoholic. So he would, and of course now it's in the evening because we would go to Brownies at night. So anyway, he was in the store with his buddies drinking. And we stopped in the store. I can't remember what we even stopped for. One of his buddies saw us with the kittens, and he says, oh, give me one of those. I'll take one home. That's so as we're, and there was one of the, a friend was with us, so she was taking one home too. So like everybody, by the time we got home, there was only 2 kittens left, one for me and one for my sister. I'm gonna fix this clasp here. So my mom said, yeah, you could keep them. What we didn't know was one of the kittens, and I don't understand how this works, but one of the kittens was, and I can't remember the name of this type of cat, but it was like a furkin or something. It's a kitten that has little short legs and kind of a long body. So that was one of the cats. Now, let me see. I need to put the heart on here. And the ribbon on this one as well. Close this. So yeah, that was one of the kittens. So my mom said we could keep the cats, and so of course my mom totally adopted the little kitten that was that funny short-legged cat. That was her cat. Oh, that's not where I want this. Let me get this back here. I was gonna say, I thought that that cat was a mother cat, and I think that's why my mom liked the cat so much, but I can't quite remember. I'm making up stories now. Anyway, that became her cat. So one day, she had her bedroom at the front of the house, and she did this on purpose. It used to be like a dining room, and she changed it, and my dad put doors on it, French doors on it and stuff, and that's where she slept. Now, we had 9 kids, so the reason why she wanted the bedroom at the front of the house was so that she would know who was coming and going at night. So in the morning, she heard the garbage men, and she heard them saying, "Go to the other side. It got underneath. Grab it, quick. Go," like, and this kind of talk, right? So by the time she got out there, they were gone. She didn't know what was going on, but she knew something was off. We never saw that cat again. So my mom swore that those garbage men stole her cat because it was a rare cat. Okay, I'm going to clip this. Get that in there. Good. And turn and fold. Clip this end off. So the other part to that story is my cat was a gray and white cat, striped cat, and it was a male cat. And you know, we had no idea back then, like all cats were outdoor cats back then, and they weren't spayed or neutered. So anyway, one day my neighbor came and got me. I'm like 10 years old, right? He came over. He said, "I want you to come see something." I'm like, "What?" Let's put the cap on here. So he takes me to his house, and his female cat had had kittens. And he goes, "Look at the babies." They all were gray and white, striped. He's like, "I think your cat's a daddy." It was hilarious. I don't know if it was hilarious for him, but I was like, at first I thought I was in trouble, right? It was too funny. Oh, this is turning out really nice. Sweet. Okay, let's get this side done. Put the crimp tube on there. And the wire guard. So you go up from the bottom, like that. pull it and bring it around. Then go through the top on the other side, like that. Just going to leave that because we're going to put the, I messed that one up the last time. I'm looking at, I have an extra one of these, I can't remember why. We'll know when we go to put it on, but let's add this part here, the toggle. So my cat, the gray and white one, his name was Minou, which is French for kitty. I had long hair. He used to sleep on my pillow on top of my hair, licking my ear at night. It's the funniest thing. The funny thing is, when Jen and I got our first cat, Dexter, together, we went to the Humane Society, and the cat I picked up, Dexter, started licking my ear right away. I was like, oh my gosh. And Jen's like, he totally had your number. Like, how did he know to lick my ear? Okay, so I'm going to slide the end through the crimp tube. Let's get this wire all the way through like that. And I'm going to squeeze the wire guard together a bit. Just like that. Make sure my wire, you don't want your wire popping up like that, so let's get our crimping tool. Right. And then turn and fold. Perfect. It looks really good. Kind of surprising myself after the last mess up. Clip that. So this is what we have so far on this one. This has two sides to it, so I might have to flip that ribbon. So there, like that. Okay, so we are going to add the chain. So let me see where I'm at with the chain. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to add this piece here. Let me put the bead cap on first. Like there. Thought maybe that came off or something, but okay, let's get that in there. Into the jump ring. And grab hold like that. And squeeze it closed. Okay, so let's see if I need to add anything. I don't know why this is. Look at the. Let me show you what's happening here. So, not a big deal, but I want to flip that over And I feel like this is not in the right place anyway. So let me just open this. Let's do it so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, let's just pop that off. And we're going to flip this one. There. And then put that back on. And get this nice and closed right. There, that's what I wanted it to sit like that. Okay, so let's take a look at how many links I need to add here. Looks like 2. So there's one that was loose, and there's another one. Perfect. Kind of doesn't do us much good, the single, when there's 2 loops. Still have to pop one open. I'm trying to avoid scratching them. Let's put it on there anyway, like that. We could actually open the clasp, the jump ring, and put it on. Do you know, I almost feel like maybe I should add, that looks like too long now. I'm wondering if I should add another jump ring here, because it's starting to get crowded, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Let me see. I have a nice jump ring here, and it's gold plated. Put that there, and hook that onto that. Oh, this is pretty. Wow. Let's see what we have. Let's move these tools out of the way. That. Let me get a little tray to get rid of these guys. So we have this one here that turns that way, like that, and like that. Ta-da! So there we go. That is lovely. Turned it really nice. Thanks for joining me, and definitely put a comment on what you would like to get as a prize for the 6K giveaway. Yeah, don't be shy. Say whatever. If it's something like outrageous, I'll just ignore it. But you never know. You've seen my, if you haven't seen my studio tour, go take a look. You see the amount of crap I have. So you're doing me a favor, and I do want to sincerely thank everybody for supporting me. I really appreciate it. I have not gotten to 6,000 without your help. Definitely, for sure. So hang in there. Things are a little rough right now with all my medical issues and losing my cat, but you know what? I have tons of stuff to keep busy and to play with and to talk about. So we'll keep hanging out. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks. Bye.